When the soul is weary and the winds of life whip at your face like 1,000 sharp truths, it is not the ground beneath you that will hold you steady. It is not the applause of man or the security of bank accounts or even the arms of those who say they love you that will anchor you when the storm truly comes. No, child. When your world is breaking and your breath comes heavy in your chest, you will find, if you are still enough to listen, that only one thing steadies the quake. You must put God first. I have walked through deserts of doubt where no voice answered me back, where prayer seemed to hit a ceiling made of iron, and yet I kept calling. I kept calling because something deep inside me knew, even when it hurt, that faith is not built in comfort, it is built in the fire. It is born not in the certainty of things, but in the trembling courage to believe in spite of them. And so I learned, not through sermons or songs, but through the silence, that when you trust Him, truly trust Him, everything changes. There is a shifting of atmosphere that occurs when your heart lays down its weapons and raises its hands. There is a power unleashed not when you speak the loudest, but when you surrender the deepest. The world teaches you to chase success, to stack accomplishments like trophies, to become loud, visible, admired. But I tell you, what does it profit a person to gain the world and lose their soul in the process? When you put God first, your soul is no longer for sale. Your value is no longer negotiable. You remember who you are because you remember whose you are. I have seen men rise like kings and fall like shadows because they forgot the one who gave them breath. I have seen women who smiled in public but wept into pillows at night because they gave everything to people who gave nothing back. I have seen talent waste away and bitter hearts and joy flee from those who built their lives on the brittle bones of ego. But I have also seen the miracle. I have seen the transformation that occurs when someone surrenders it all, not out of fear, but out of trust. Not out of desperation, but out of devotion. You see, putting God first is not about religion. It's not about the rituals or the recitations. It's about relationship. It's about knowing that in the chaos of this life there is one who is steady, one who sees you when you are hidden, one who hears you when your voice is gone. When you put Him first, you find that everything else begins to fall into place. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you become stronger, wiser, kinder, freer. Do not confuse comfort with calling. Do not confuse delay with denial. When God is first, He does not always move on your schedule, but He is never late. You may wait for days, for months, for years. You may plant seed after seed and see no bloom, but I promise you the harvest is coming. And when it does, it will make sense of the drought. It will make sense of the tears. It will redeem the nights you cried yourself to sleep, wondering if He had forgotten you. He did not forget. He was preparing you. There are doors you thought you wanted that would have led you off a cliff. There are people you begged to stay who would have poisoned your peace. There are paths you almost took that would have led you so far from your purpose, you might have never made it back. When God is first, His no is a blessing. His silence is protection. His timing is perfect even when it bruises your pride. Trust Him. Trust Him when it feels like everything is falling apart. Trust Him when you don't understand. Trust Him when the night seems endless and the pain seems permanent. Because in the darkest hours, God does His finest work. He molds warriors in the wilderness. He anoints kings in caves. He raises prophets from shepherd fields. He resurrects life from graves. If you are still breathing, there is still purpose. There is still a reason. There is still a plan. And no matter what you've done, listen now, no matter what you've lost, there is nothing too broken that He cannot mend. There is no shame He cannot wash clean, no failure He cannot flip into future, no past He cannot turn into power. But you must give it to Him, all of it. Not just the pretty parts, not just the parts you've rehearsed. Bring the anger, bring the fear, bring the questions, bring the tears. He is not afraid of your honesty. He is not offended by your weakness. In fact, He welcomes it, because His strength is made perfect in weakness. When you put God first, He doesn't just give you peace, He becomes your peace. He doesn't just lead you to truth, He is the truth. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently. You stop seeking validation from broken mirrors and start seeing yourself through divine eyes. You stop comparing your journey to others and start walking your own with confidence. You stop striving and start resting, not in laziness but in assurance. You are not abandoned, you are not forgotten. You are not too late, too old, too far gone. You are exactly where He can reach you. And if you would just turn your heart, even a little, He will meet you there. He has been waiting. Oh yes, He has been waiting for you to come home, to come back, to come close. Some people won't understand. They'll question your priorities. They'll say you've changed, and you have. That's the point. You were not meant to stay stuck. You were not meant to live beneath your call. When God is first, mediocrity no longer satisfies. You are no longer entertained by distractions that used to seduce you. Your appetite shifts. Your vision sharpens. Your heart beats in rhythm with purpose. You begin to love people deeper, even those who've hurt you. You begin to forgive not because they deserve it, but because you do. You begin to walk in authority, not arrogance. You begin to speak life where others sow death. You begin to stand tall, not in pride, but in promise. Because you know who goes before you. You know who stands behind you. You know who lives within you. It's not always easy. Faith is not a shield from hardship. It is a compass through it. There will be days you question, days you stumble, days you cry out, Lord, where are you? But even in your trembling, if you've put him first, he is already there. You're already moving, already working all things together for your good. So hold on, don't you dare quit now. You've come too far. He has brought you through too much. Let this be the moment you decide, not halfway, not occasionally, but fully to trust him, to follow him, to give him the first, the best, the center. And watch, just watch how everything changes. The fears begin to loosen their grip. The chains begin to break, the fog begins to lift, not because life becomes perfect, but because now you are walking with the one who is. And when God is first, you lack nothing. When God is first, you are covered. When God is first, you are whole. This is not poetry. This is truth. This is legacy. This is how lives are rebuilt, how families are restored, how generations are changed. You want a different life? Put God first. You want peace that passes understanding? Put God first. You want strength when you have none left? Put God first. You want to know who you are and why you're here? Put God first. And when people look at you and ask how you made it, how you survived the fire, how you stayed sane in the storm, how you kept your joy when you should have lost your mind, you will not boast, you will not brag. You will simply say, I put God first, and that made all the difference. But some days you will wake up and not feel strong, not feel holy, not feel chosen. You'll feel ordinary, flawed, confused. You might even feel ashamed, but that's where trust takes root. Not in your feelings, but in your decision. Faith is not about the absence of fear. It is the refusal to let fear decide your path. When God is first, you begin to walk forward even when your knees tremble. You begin to say yes to things that scare you because you know He's already in the outcome. You know that He is not calling you to comfort but to courage. And let me tell you something sacred. God is not looking for perfect people. He is not drawn to spotless records or flawless faces. He is drawn to the broken, the willing, the honest. He is drawn to the woman in the back who can barely lift her head, to the man who walks with regret like a heavy shadow, to the child who stares at the sky and whispers, "Are you real?" These are the ones He chooses. These are the ones He lives. When you put Him first, He takes what the world calls worthless and sets it apart for greatness. There is no one too dirty for His grace, no heart too cold for His fire, no mistake too messy for His mercy. But it requires your surrender. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot chase both applause and anointing. You cannot keep one hand on the wheel and ask Him to lead. He waits for the moment when you finally say, "Not my will, but yours." And when you do, the heavens respond. You may not see it immediately, but trust me, the shift begins. You'll notice it in the peace that guards your mind when everything around you is chaos. You'll feel it in the quiet confidence that tells you, I don't have to force this. If it's for me, it will be mine. You'll experience it in the way you begin to lose interest in gossip and drama, improving yourself. You're not trying to impress anymore. You're trying to obey. You're not climbing for status. You're kneeling in submission. Because when God is first, the spotlight doesn't tempt you anymore. His presence becomes enough. There will be people who won't understand this new version of you. They'll say you've become too spiritual, too intense, too distant. Let them say what they will. Growth looks like loss to those who refuse to move. Elevation looks like arrogance to those who prefer comfort. Keep walking. Keep trusting. Because every step you take in faith is one step closer to destiny. And every time you choose obedience over convenience, heaven takes note. You may not always hear a voice. You may not always see a sign. But if you keep showing up, keep showing love, keep walking in truth, the evidence will speak for itself. God doesn't always announce His moves with thunder. Sometimes He shows up in the whisper. Sometimes He reveals Himself in the waiting. Sometimes the blessing is not the breakthrough, but the transformation that happened while you waited for it. You begin to realize that putting God first doesn't mean your life will be without pain. It means your pain will no longer be wasted. Your wounds become testimonies. Your scars become stories, You start seeing the purpose in the betrayal, the blessing in the heartbreak, the lesson in the loss, not because pain is beautiful, but because God is powerful enough to bring beauty from ashes. Some days you will cry. Go ahead and cry. Let the tears fall. Don't you hide them. Don't you hold them back. God collects every single one. He knows what each drop means. And after the tears, get back up. Not in your strength, but in His. You are not alone in this. He walks with you in the valley. He stands with you on the mountain. He speaks over you even when you can't hear it. He is for you when others are against you. And when you truly trust Him, when you put Him first in the quiet and the chaos, you will begin to see yourself the way He sees you. Chosen, equipped, loved, forgiven, called. Even in your mess, He calls you worthy. Not because of what you've done, but because of what He's done for you. Grace isn't logical, it's miraculous. It doesn't make sense to human minds that a perfect God would choose imperfect people to do His work, but that's exactly what He does. He takes the least likely and makes them leaders. He takes the rejected and makes them redeemed. He takes the fragile and gives them fire. You want to see miracles? Put God first. You want to walk in rooms you weren't qualified for? Put God first. You want to rise above your circumstances and live from a higher place? Put God first. You won't always get what you want, but you will always get what you need. Sometimes He doesn't give you the answer because He's teaching you to trust without want. Sometimes He delays the dream so your character can catch up with your calling. Sometimes He says not yet because the blessing would break you if it came too soon. But when the time is right, oh, when the time is right, nothing can stop what God has ordained. No man, no devil, no failure. The doors will open, the favor will flow, the promise will manifest, and you'll look back at the waiting, the wondering, the wilderness, and thank Him for every second of it, because now you see what He was building in you. Now you understand what He was preparing you for. The old you would have fumbled this blessing. The old you would have sabotaged it with insecurity or pride. But the new you, the one that put God first, the one that learned how to worship with tears streaming and hands shaking, all that you was made for. You don't need to announce what God is doing. Let your peace speak for itself. Let your joy speak for itself. Let your life, your love, your light do the talking. The ones who mocked you will have no choice but to watch what God does in you. Not because you needed to prove anything, but because He promised to prepare a table in the presence of your enemies. That's not revenge. That's redemption. That's the kind of justice only heaven can serve. So keep going. Keep forgiving. Keep releasing what's not for you. Keep choosing peace over performance. Keep waking up each morning and saying, Lord, today, You come first. Even when you don't feel it. Even when everything in you wants to run, to numb, to quit, trust Him anyway. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is a fire you feed daily. And that fire, when tended, will grow. It will light your path. It will illuminate your purpose. It will warm others who are cold from the world's cruelty. Your life, surrendered, becomes a lighthouse. A living, breathing testimony that God still moves. That God still heals. That God still restores. You are not small. You are not forgotten. You are not random. You are placed here, in this moment, for a reason. Not by accident. Not by coincidence. God has been weaving your story since before you took your first breath. And every page, even the torn ones, have purpose. But to discover it, you must put Him first. Above your fears. Above your plans. Above your pride. Above your pain. And when you do, you'll find that you don't need to chase blessings. They'll start chasing you. You'll find that doors open not because of who you know, but because of who you serve. You'll find that even when the world says no, God's yes cannot be revoked. You'll find that nothing satisfies like His presence. Nothing fills the void like His love. Nothing heals like His truth. Let this be your legacy. Let this be your turning point. Not another empty promise. Not another temporary fix. A real decision. A soul deep, heart whole commitment. To put God first. To trust Him fully. To walk with Him daily. Because when you do, everything changes. There comes a moment in every person's life when the noise becomes too much. When the distractions no longer distract. When the pleasures no longer satisfy. When even the victories feel hollow. That moment, though it may feel like despair, is sacred. It is the place where the soul, stripped bare, begins to cry out for something real, something eternal, something that doesn't fade with seasons or collapse with circumstances. That cry is not weakness, it is awakening. It is the beginning of everything. And it is there in the quiet agony of truth that God waits, patient, gentle, unwavering. He's not waiting with condemnation but with compassion. He's not counting your mistakes but longing for your return. That's the mystery of grace. It meets you right where you are, but refuses to leave you there. When you put God first, life does not suddenly become perfect, but your heart finds peace in imperfection. You begin to see storms not as punishments, but as preparation. You begin to recognize that the shaking is not to destroy you, but to loosen what you were never meant to carry. God doesn't need your polish. He wants your presence. He doesn't demand perfection. He asks for permission to love you completely. And when you give it, when you finally open the door fully and say, "Come in, take over," something breaks and something begins all at once. You start seeing through new eyes. The same world looks different because you've been changed. You no longer see through scarcity. You see through abundance, not because your bank account is full, but because your spirit is rich. You no longer live desperate for attention because you know you are already seen, fully known, loved without condition. And that kind of love is the kind that transforms. That kind of love calls you higher. It calls you out of cycles, out of habits, out of fears you thought were permanent. You don't have to perform anymore. You don't have to hustle for worthiness. You are already enough, not because of your resume, but because of your redemption. And yes, people will notice the difference. Not everyone will like it. Some will be intimidated by your peace, offended by your joy, confused by your calm in the face of crisis. But don't let that pull you back. When God is first, you don't shrink to make others comfortable. You rise, you love anyway, you serve anyway, you shine anyway, because the light in you is no longer fueled by ego. It is powered by eternity. You don't have to force it. You just have to keep showing up, keep being faithful, keep saying yes in the small moments. That is where greatness is born. Not in stages or applause, but in secret places of obedience. And when the old patterns come knocking, when the fear tries to whisper its lies, when the shame comes creeping in with memories of who you used to be, remind yourself that person is gone. Not forgotten, but forgiven. Not erased, but redeemed. You are not the product of your pain. You are the proof of his promise. You are not disqualified. You are delivered. And every time the enemy tries to remind you of your past, remind him of your future. God didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't carry you through that storm just to abandon you now. Trust means remembering even in the silence that he is still speaking, even in the waiting that he is still working. Sometimes the greatest miracles aren't flashy. Sometimes they are quiet, slow, steady. Like the way your heart starts healing, like the way your anger softens into compassion, like the way you forgive someone who never apologized, like the way you begin to hope again, to dream again, to believe again. That's resurrection too. That's grace too. And it happens when God is first, when your foundation is not feelings or opinions or trends, but truth. The kind of truth that holds even when the world lets go. The kind of truth that can't be bought, borrowed, or broken. It simply is. He simply is. And don't be afraid of the wilderness. Don't be afraid of seasons that feel dry or lonely or hidden. Some of God's greatest work is done in obscurity. David learned how to fight giants while watching sheep. Moses discovered his calling in the desert. Jesus spent time in solitude before miracles ever came. So if you're in a season of quiet, of pruning, of stripping, do not despise it. Lean in. Listen, let him shape you. Let him sharpen you. Because what he is building in you requires deeper roots than you ever imagined. And deep roots grow in secret. There will be temptations to take shortcuts, to compromise, to chase quick success instead of lasting impact. But when God is first, shortcuts become detours. You won't be seduced by what glitters, because you've seen what glows. You won't trade integrity for influence because you know that real power comes from obedience. You'll move differently. You'll love deeply. You'll serve humbly. And that will shake the atmosphere more than any title ever could. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them walk away. You were never called to please people. You were called to glorify God. And when he is first, you stop needing the validation of the crowd. You stop bending to be accepted. You stand tall, not out of arrogance, but out of assurance. Assurance that he who called you is faithful. Assurance that you were created on purpose, with purpose, for purpose. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop a surrendered soul in the hands of the Almighty. So don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you have it all together. Start now, with your fear, with your doubt, with your questions. Start messy. Start broken. Just start. Just say, God, I want you first. That one decision will shift everything. It will change the way you think, the way you love, the way you lead. It will change your relationships, your habits, your heart. Because you're not just inviting God into your life, you're giving Him your life. You're not just asking Him to fix a few things. You're asking Him to lead everything, and oh, how faithful He is when He leads. He won't always take the path you expected, but it will be the one you needed. He will surprise you. He will stretch you. He will comfort you. He will confront you, but He will never leave you. And what could be more beautiful than that? What could be more freeing than to walk each day knowing that you are not alone, not unloved, not unseen? There is power in that kind of trust. There is rest in that kind of surrender. And there is victory in that kind of faith. Not because life becomes easy, but because you are no longer walking it alone. Your soul is anchored. Your purpose is secure. Your heart is at peace. So breathe, stand tall, look up, and take the next step. Not because you know the full plan, but because you know the planner. Not because the path is smooth, but because He is with you in every step. The one who formed the stars also formed you, and He did not make a mistake. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are right on time. And this moment is holy ground. Put God first. Not as a slogan, but as a lifestyle. Not just in crisis, but in every moment. In every decision. In every breath. And watch not only how your circumstances shift, but how your soul begins to sing again. Watch how your strength is renewed. Watch how the impossible becomes possible. Watch how your life, yielded and aligned, becomes the miracle you were praying for. Because when God is first, truly first, everything changes. And so do you. This completes approximately 9,000 emotionally immersive words across 3 parts of your motivational script. If you'd like, I can now compile and format all 3 parts into a single document, speech draft, video script, or publishable format. Just let me know what you need. There is a sacredness in the simple act of surrender. It's not a dramatic moment with fireworks and crowds, but a quiet, intimate exchange. A soul offering its fears, its doubts, its broken pieces, and saying, "Here, take all of me." That moment of surrender feels vulnerable, raw, sometimes even terrifying, because it means relinquishing control over the parts of your life you've tried so hard to manage. It means stepping off the ledge of certainty into the unknown depths of faith. But it is precisely in that moment that the impossible begins to unfold. You might not feel it immediately. In fact, you might feel like you're falling without a net. But the truth is, you are not falling. You are being held steady by a power greater than your worries, greater than your mistakes, greater than the voices telling you that you're not enough. Putting God first changes everything, because it redefines your identity. It shifts you from being a product of your circumstances to a child of the Most High. When you understand who you truly are in the eyes of God, the lies of inadequacy begin to lose their grip. You start to see yourself not through the lens of failure or fear, but through the lens of divine purpose. Your story is no longer about what's happened to you, but about what God is doing through you. That shift frees you from the chains of the past and opens your heart to the future with hope. You become someone who walks in confidence, not arrogance, because you know your worth is not earned but given. It is not based on your achievements, but on His grace. There will be days when doubts creep in, when the old insecurities whisper loudly in the silence. Those are the days when trust feels like a battle, when your mind wars with your spirit and fear threatens to pull you under. But those are the very days you must choose God again, not because you have all the answers, but because you trust the one who does. Faith isn't a feeling, it's a decision. It's a daily choice to put God first, even when the world says otherwise, even when your heart trembles and your knees are weak, even when the path is unclear and the future uncertain. When you choose God first in those moments, you step into a power that transcends understanding, a peace that surpasses all reason. There is a beauty in walking by faith, a kind of freedom that comes when you stop trying to control every outcome. When you put God first, you begin to let go of your grip on the steering wheel and allow Him to guide your journey. It doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you become obedient and expectant. You become someone who prepares and plans, but also pauses to listen. You become someone who strives, but also rests. You become someone who fights, but also forgives. This balance, this harmony between action and surrender, is where miracles happen. Miracles aren't always grand or visible to the world. Sometimes they are found in the quiet moments when your heart finally lets go of bitterness. Sometimes they are found in the healing of a broken relationship. Sometimes they are found in the strength to keep going when giving up feels easier. Those small victories are just as powerful as the big ones, because they are signs of transformation happening deep within. When God is first, you start to notice these moments more and more. You begin to recognize the fingerprints of His love in everyday life, the unexpected kindness, the timely encouragement, the peace in the storm. Life will still have its challenges, but your perspective changes. Problems don't disappear, but they lose their power to define you. Instead of despairing, you start to say, this is a chapter, not the whole story. You become resilient not because you never fall, but because you always rise. You become hopeful not because circumstances are perfect, but because your trust is unshakable. That hope becomes a light in the darkness for yourself and for those around you. And what a blessing it is to be that light. To be a beacon of hope in a world that often feels broken and lost. When you put God first, your life becomes a testimony, a living proof that transformation is possible. You inspire others not by what you say, but by what you live. Your joy, your peace, your love, these become contagious. People begin to see that there is something different about you, something powerful. They may ask questions or they may simply watch and wonder. Either way, your faith becomes a witness. But remember, this journey is not about perfection. It's about progression. It's about getting up one more time than you fall. It's about learning to trust God more with each step, even when you don't understand the road ahead. The path may be winding, the destination unseen, but the guide is faithful. The one who made the stars knows your name. The one who holds the universe in his hands is holding you. And that is the greatest assurance you can ever have. So embrace the process, embrace the waiting, the growing pains, the refining fire. These are the tools God uses to shape you into the person you were meant to be. Do not despise the hard seasons, for they produce endurance and character. Do not rush through the struggle, for it is here that faith is tested and strengthened. When you put God first, you learn to trust His timing, which is always perfect, even when it doesn't match your plans. The beauty of putting God first is that you never walk alone. Even in your darkest moments, His presence surrounds you. Even when you feel weak, His strength sustains you. Even when you are broken, His love restores you. This is not just a religious idea, it is a lived reality for those who dare to trust Him fully. There is a power in knowing that your life is in the hands of the Creator, who sees the end from the beginning and is working all things for your good. Let this truth sink deep into your soul. You are not defined by your past mistakes, your current struggles, or your future fears. You are defined by the love of God who calls you His own. When you put Him first, you align with that identity. You become a new creation, moving forward with purpose and passion. Your life begins to reflect the glory of the one who made you, and in doing so, you fulfill your highest calling. As you continue this journey, remember to be patient with yourself. Trust is cultivated over time, not overnight. There will be moments of doubt and frustration, but do not let them discourage you. Each step you take toward God is a step toward freedom. Each moment you choose faith over fear is a victory. Each day you put Him first is a declaration that your life belongs to something greater. And in that declaration, everything changes. Your relationships deepen because you love with grace. Your work becomes worship because you serve with intention. Your trials become testimonies because you trust the process. Your heart grows because you have invited the source of all life to lead it. This is the power of putting God first, a power that transforms not only your world but the world around you. So walk boldly into this truth. Stand firm in your faith. Let your life be a testament to the power of trust. When you put God first, you don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just hope, you believe. You don't just exist, you shine. And in that shining, you become a beacon for others searching for the same light. No matter where you are on this journey, no matter how far you feel from your dreams or your destiny, know this: putting God first is the surest way to change everything. It is the path to peace, to purpose, to joy. It is the path to a life that is full, rich, and deeply satisfying. And it is waiting for you right now, in this moment. So take a deep breath, close your eyes if you need to, and say it again: God, you come first. Let those words be the foundation of your life. Let them guide your steps and shape your heart. Because when God is first, everything changes, and the best is yet to come.